Welcome in to Chatterbox Reacts. Jacob Tissett here with Elliot Rearing.
Woo!
And we finally have some new JaMarr Chase news to talk about.
And it's all positive, right?
That's right.
It's
That's
all
right.
positive.
It's all positive. That's at least the spin we're going to take.
Absolutely.
He spoke to the media today for the first time following his hold in coming to an end. He's been at practice the last 2 days as the Bengals prepare for their Week 1 matchup against the Patriots. And it seems like all things going according to plan, he's planning on playing, at least in a limited capacity.
A limited capacity. Again, we'll see. So per Charlie Goldsmith, he will be limited if I do play. He is a game-time decision.
That's right.
JaMarr Chase is a game-time decision per Charlie Goldsmith, per the press conference he just had. Don't love that. Don't love the words that we used there. But nonetheless, it does seem like he is 100% healthy. This isn't about health. It's whether or not that contract is done in time.
And speaking of that contract, a lot of people, Bengals fans, national media, everyone kind of had the same mindset this whole time. JaMarr Chase, why are you holding out with 2 years left on your contract? That's just not the normal formula that we see in the NFL. Guys hold out after their 4th year of their rookie contract and then get that big payday. However, JaMarr Chase doing it a year earlier. I think the main thing that a lot of people might not have realized, we're going to hear from JaMarr right here in this clip, that the Bengals might have actually been the ones that brought it to him.
Just say I didn't ask for a contract or demand a contract this year. It was told by the staff prior to the offseason, right before camp. So I'm open and ready.
Just to follow up on that, where are you at in terms of your contract status, and do you expect to?
Contract status pretty good for real. I want to say we're off a little bit, but you know it's in reach.
Off a little bit, but still in reach. That's my main takeaway from that. But I think the blame really shifted with the first few words of that press conference.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception amongst the fan base, including myself, because I certainly thought that JaMarr Chase wanted to get paid earlier. Listen, I'm not going to fault any wide receiver, any player in the NFL for wanting to be secure in their job. It's a dangerous job. It's arguably the most dangerous sport, team sport in the country, maybe in the world. I don't want to over-exaggerate too much, but there's certainly risk when you play professional football. Now,
absolutely.
The risk and reward is what makes it more enticing because you're going to get paid a lot of money. And JaMarr Chase right now is trying to get paid a lot of money 2 years early. At least that's what I thought. I thought he was coming in, I want to be secure, I want to be safe as I go through the prime years of my career. But now we find out it wasn't him. It wasn't JaMarr Chase who initiated it. And we're going to talk about some of the other quotes that have gone more viral from this press conferences. But this quote should be the number one quote I'm seeing all over Twitter. And it's not. This isn't the top 5 quote from that press conference, and I feel like it should be. Because I think everybody, including myself, maybe including Jacob, thought this was a JaMarr deal. JaMarr wanted to get paid early. It's the Bengals. It's Mike Brown. It's the front office. It's the ownership. They reached out to him, at least during this press conference. But yeah, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, no, a big change certainly in where you're placing the blame for this whole ordeal. A lot of people obviously mad at JaMarr because this team's focused on winning a Super Bowl right now. We're trying to get over that hump, and he's seemingly stopping us from putting the best team on the field in Week 1. Because even if he is out there, I know he said he was a game-time decision, but even if he is out there, it's not going to be 100% of JaMarr Chase. That's just the reality of the situation. Football is a difficult game. You have to install plays to go against an NFL defense. It's going to take a little bit for him to get up to speed. And whether that's 1 week of practice or 1 game, I'm not quite sure. But all I know is on Sunday, he's not going to be as good as he would have been had he practiced throughout camp. And that's where a lot of my anger towards JaMarr came from. But if he was just protecting himself from getting injured during camp while the Bengals were trying to negotiate a contract, heading those negotiations, then how can you blame the guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
He certainly didn't sound like he expected a negotiation this offseason. He even said that he doesn't need the contract right now. That does make me question why you're holding out, but that's a different story.
Correct.
He seems like he would have went about a completely normal offseason in this timeline and held out next offseason, done the negotiations next offseason, had the Bengals not brought it to him. So that is a little bit weird to me. But my biggest quote of this entire press conference is the one right here, and JaMarr Chase says that he wants to stay in Cincinnati.
I'm confident it'll get done. You know, I know my worth, and I'm sure they know my worth too. So, I mean, that's easy and simple.
You want to be in Cincinnati long term?
Yeah, I love Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? I love the teammates here. I love the fans here. You know, it's just a beautiful place to be.
Do you want to be in Cincinnati long term? Yes. I love the fans here. I love the teammates here. It's a wonderful place to be. I'm not sure there's a better quote that could come out of JaMarr's mouth today.
And this is where I thought this initially. He never wanted to leave. He wants to be
Correct.
wide receiver 1 for the Cincinnati Bengals. He wants to play with his college teammate Joe Burrow. He wants to be here in Cincinnati. He loves the fans. The fans love him. That's why I thought everything was so weird to me, because he was traveling with the team to Chicago. He was showing up to every practice. And I know there's a financial component to some of that. But at the end of the day, he wanted to be a part of the team. He is a part of the team. So when I hear that JaMarr Chase was offered the deal by the Bengals came to him. He didn't want this. The Bengals wanted this. Now, granted, he probably wanted it too, but the Bengals started it. If the Bengals start it, that's why all of this seems very confusing to me. So now it's starting to all make sense. Everything where he said he was ready to go, Zach Taylor spoke too soon. Now he won't say whether or not he's playing. All of this is sort of coming together where the Bengals offered him the deal. They came to him. He said, "You know what? I want to be a part. I want to be here. I want to be a part of the Bengals, but I want to make sure I'm okay now. I can't lose the deal that you guys are offering by practicing right now."
Right, exactly. And I think that a lot of the time throughout this holdout, people were worried about the future of JaMarr Chase. And
Yeah.
my worry really started and stopped with like the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
I think this holdout could affect his play as we start the season. And we've talked about ad nauseum how slow starts have affected the Bengals over the last few years. So certainly that's not something we want. But I'm not worried about JaMarr Chase long-term whatsoever. And the first opportunity he has to talk to the media, he reassures fans of exactly that.
Yeah.
He wants to be here, that he wants to be a part of the team, that he's happy. That's exactly what we wanted to hear, and that's great news. We've seen so many other wide receiver holdouts get ugly. Speaking of Brandon Ayuk, that was one of the worst ones I've ever seen. He's going on other players' Instagram lives talking about how the team doesn't want him and he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And then he signs a massive contract.
Correct.
That's a terrible place to be as both a fan and an organization. CeeDee Lamb, a little bit more toned down, just a few tweets poking fun at the owner and some comments. Obviously, he got a deal done too. But JaMarr is one of the quietest holdouts we've ever seen.
Yeah.
He put his head down. He did his negotiations. He kept it wrapped up, which is what the Bengals like to do.
Yep.
There were minimal leaks the entire time. And I think that is a testament to how much JaMarr respects the Bengals and does want to be here.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot more sense now, seeing that they brought him the offer. Of course, you're not going to make those negotiations public if they're doing you a favor by giving you an extension early.
Yeah.
So I think this is all very, very encouraging news when it comes to JaMarr Chase's relationship with the Bengals, the roster, the fan base, all of the above. I took this all as a massive plus.
I have some other quotes from the press conference per Charlie Goldsmith of the Enquirer. JaMarr Chase, quote, "I'm confident it'll get done. I know my worth. I'm sure they know my worth too. I love Cincinnati." That's a portion of the clip you just heard there. Charlie Goldsmith also tweets out, Chase said, "I'll bet on myself if I have to," which means he's going to play this season. You're going to see JaMarr Chase, at least in some capacity, hopefully right away from the beginning.
That's right.
This entire year. He's going to bet on himself if it doesn't get done. He also said his deadline was today. Today is Friday, September 6th. Do you think that deadline was his deadline, the Bengals' deadline, and do you think the deal will be done by today, which supposedly is the deadline day?
I'm still gonna side with the camp that a deal is not gonna get done this offseason, that we're gonna focus on next season. Next offseason, I mean, for negotiations. A lot of those quotes led me to believe that bridge was closed for this offseason, that he was moving on, turning the page from a negotiation stage, focusing on the contract to focusing on football. Would I have liked him to do that a few weeks ago? Yeah. Probably, but I'm, again, not worried about JaMarr Chase. I think that this contract dilemma is going to be something that we're going to spend a lot of time on next offseason too. But at the end of the day, JaMarr's going to be wearing stripes for a really, really long time. And the way this all has played out over the last, I guess, 3-4 hours makes me even more confident saying that.
Yeah, I think the Cincinnati Bengals are in a good place right now. It's I understand the frustration, the confusion with all that's happened over the past couple of weeks. But at the end of the day, JaMarr Chase wants to be here.
That's right.
He's willing to be here. He's showing up to things that he probably shouldn't have if he was, I'm not going to say he's a bad negotiator by any means, because he's making us all feel good about it. But at the end of the day, he could have sat out. He maybe shouldn't have flown out to Chicago for a preseason game. He could have done things differently to make us feel like he was uninterested. He's interested. He wants to be here. He's going to be here. And as far as I'm concerned, the Bengals Super Bowl is back on.
That's right. That's the main takeaway. Bengals Super Bowl back on. Just to recap, JaMarr Chase has an offer on the table from the Bengals. The deadline from him that he said himself
Yep.
for said offer is today. He is a game time decision for game 1, and he wants to be in Cincinnati the rest of his career. You change that game time decision to a guaranteed starter, and that's a pretty good day.
That's a pretty damn good day.
For Chatterbox Reacts, Jacob Tissett, Elliot Rearing, thank you so much. We'll see you around.